morning. It's Lacey Lively from the City of Cold Station, and today my guest is Jennifer Nations, Water Resource Coordinator for the city.
Hello, hello.
Hi, thanks for coming in. So I hear there's a special week coming up.
It's Source Water Protection Week. It's an annual week every year.
So, but I mean, at same time every year?
Yeah, it's usually in September. It follows Pollution Prevention Week, which is good.
Okay, and I feel a little, what does this mean?
Yeah, so why do we care about source water? So, it's good that it follows on the heels of Pollution Prevention Week because pollution prevention is also a big part of keeping your source water clean. So, Source Water Protection Week is it's a week that is marked by the American Water Works Association, and when we protect our drinking water sources from contamination, then it's much easier to just keep things out of the source versus having, trying to take them out at the treatment plant later. And, we're on groundwater here, but I saw a great graphic on Reddit a couple of weeks ago with this, I forget what the name of the water source was, but it was this big poster with a cutout in the shape of a glass, and then the poster was in front of a lake, and it said, enjoy this glass of your drinking water, which was the lake. So that was a really good visual, but...
And we're groundwater.
Yeah, so we can't do that. And our aquifer is 3,000 feet deep, so we can't really do any good visuals like that.
No, but it's a good plug because I know out of our planning and development services department, they do a lot of stormwater awareness and pollution. And what does that mean for you at home? It's meaning to clean up after your pet, means to be careful with your fertilizer, pesticides, things like that. Because what happens is when it rains, that will wash whatever's in your yard or on your driveway out into our storm drains, and those all go out into creeks, rivers, lakes, wherever.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're all part of, I always say we all live downstream from someone, and so that's all going to flow into our creeks, and then that's going to go into the Brazos River and the Navasota River, and then that's going to become somebody else's drinking water downstream. So we want to keep the stuff from getting into the stream in the first place. Was there
anything else that I left out to be careful of?
Let's see. We talked about the pesticides and the pet waste and the fertilizers and just, over irrigation. You don't want to have that because then you're going to have runoff. And then, so we got Pollution Prevention Week last week, Source Water Protection Week this week. And then this is also a good time to, I'm not coordinating it anymore. It's also a good time to remind people of the household hazardous waste collection coming up.
Oh, yes.
We, in the past, we've sent letters to people who live in the area surrounding our well field. We'll send them letters or flyers letting them know about that collection because that's the only safe and legal way to get rid of things like motor oil or gasoline or something like that. And we don't want to pour it onto the ground.
Right, and medication too. You don't flush your medication down the toilet.
Yeah.
I think that's October 22nd.
Yeah.
7 to 2 p.m., October 22nd. And that is free for any Brazos Valley resident. You don't even have to get out of your car. You load up your car with any household hazardous waste, and they will take it out of your car for you. And then you drive off. I know you can go to twinoakslandfill.com.
twinoakslandfill.com/HHW.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
So, keep all that stuff out. So then that's going to help our wastewater treatment plant also because we don't want to have things like gasoline and harsh chemicals. The wastewater treatment process is all, it's, how do we describe it years ago? We described it as happy microbes and some air freshener. So we want to keep those microbes happy.
So they can clean up the stuff.
Exactly.
Do their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also know there's a lot of places around town, like if you change your own oil or automotive fluids yourself, you can go and dispose of them properly.
Right.
You don't have to just wait. So the household hazardous waste is usually April and October, twice a year. With that, I talked about flushing things down the toilet.
Oh.
This might be a good plug of reminder of folks.
Exactly. What not to flush. We had our wastewater operators sent me a picture. It's a little bit hard to tell, but it was looking down into a manhole, and then you can see the manhole is where you can look down, and the wastewater pipe is not covered. It's open on that part, and you can see the wastewater flowing through. So there was this big mass of paper towels and grease, and they had to go. And again, it was, the people were like, well, we don't know how it happened. And I think it was a restaurant or something. And we were like, well, I don't know.
But it went down the sink.
Yeah,
or
it
the
went down
toilet.
the sink or the drain or something like that, and then it gets solidified and it backs up, and so that's another impact to water quality because if it's backing up, then we have that going on the street or going into the creeks, and then there's the impact to wildlife, and it also smells, and so we just
It's grody.
It's grody.
And it's expensive.
All of these things connect together. Another thing I learned about was when I was looking up some information about the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer and how it is different. It's kind of cool. It goes all the way from the Louisiana border down to the border with Mexico. It stretches all across Texas. And then in our area, it's found in northwest Brazos County and Robertson County. But there's other parts of the aquifer where there's a lot of, they called it thicketization, where there's a lot of brush growing in, maybe non-native brush, and it's actually preventing rainfall from soaking into the ground and recharging the aquifer. So there's like land management and habitat, vegetation management, things that you can do that also improve water quality and quantity.
And in the aquifer you just mentioned, that's where we get our water
All
from.
of our drinking water comes from it's like imagine like a big layer cake. And so it's the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer group, and then we've got the Simsboro Sand, which is the 3,000 feet deep one. That's why our water comes out so hot. It's 118 degrees Fahrenheit when it comes out, and it's in the confined portion, so it tends to be soft. So this time of year, people are moving here, and they're like, why can't I get the soap out of my hair? Why does the water feel so slimy? It's because it's so soft, and that's a characteristic of our source water. And then in other parts of the state, the aquifer is unconfined. That means that you can just like drill down and get to the water, without, like you could just dig and then get to the water, versus we have to punch through that confining layer.
Okay.
And so in those areas, the water is hard, and then it has fewer dissolved solids in it. So it's a totally different quality just based on where it is.
I'm glad you brought that up because usually we get a lot of tweets about that.
Yeah, we do. And it's, the things that people find, odd or, that I would say, objectionable to some people, although they're completely fine. But, the sodium in the water, the softness, the way it feels, that's all characteristic of our source water. And the aquifers in central Texas are different. And so, they're limestone aquifers. This one is more of a sand aquifer. So it has such a huge impact on water chemistry and taste and feel and everything.
But you surpassed the water quality drinking report.
Absolutely.
It is safe.
Yeah, I mean, we pump it out of the ground, we add some chlorine for disinfection, and we're off to the races, which is great.
Right.
We don't have to if we were getting our water from the Brazos River or, Lake Conroe or something like that, we'd have to put it through several steps, and we'd have to add chemicals to it to get, all of the like floating leaves and mud and stuff that you see when you're in a lake. We'd have to get all that to come out, and sometimes lakes will like turn over where the water on the bottom goes to the top, and then it can smell and taste funny, and so groundwater is great.
I was like, that's good. I love all your water knowledge. That's why you're known as the water chick.
That's right.
Yes. Is there anything else you wanted to add? And
let's see. We talked about the source water protection. I guess I would just add that TCEQ does an assessment of our source water, and then they use what they discover in that to determine the frequency of how often we sample our drinking water and what it's sampled for. So it's it's all based on keeping our water clean.
Clean and safe.
Clean and safe, yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
You're welcome.
Thanks. And with that, that's stuff you don't usually see.